Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to do a couple of Valentine's Day related book tags. I was tagged in videos by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading and Pat at Book Chat with Pat. First, I'm going to repeat what Kelly said. Valentine's Day is Friday, but I wanted to make sure you had your chance to do this tag or one of the Valentine's Day tag videos I've done previously. This tag was created by What's Just Reading. As always, I'd love to hear your answers to these questions in the comment section. And of course, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can leave an emoji or give this video a thumbs up. And there are 3 different tags that you could do. I'm going to do 2 of them. The first one I'm going to do is the one Kelly did, and that is the Love Hearts book tag. There are 10 prompts to this tag. Also, I'm not going to do the book graphics on this one because there's a fair amount of answers here, and I would like to get this video released as soon as possible. But the books will be listed in response to the prompts in the description of this video. So if there's a title I mentioned, you could see the title in the description of the video. The first question is, I love you. What is your all-time favorite romance book? I had to think a lot about this, and there's nothing that really stands out totally. A lot of books I like, though. Decided I'm going to pick I Kiss Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This is a YA sapphic romance. It's cute. I really like it. The second prompt is Be Happy. What is a book that makes you incredibly happy every time you read it? I've discussed previously that I don't repeat many books. I don't reread many books. And type of books I read, they don't make me happy in a way I think this prompt implies. But of the few books that I have reread a few times, I'm going to pick War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I've read it 3 times, and I really do enjoy that. A alien invasion book. I really enjoy that book. The third prompt is Date me, a book character that you would date. One that came to mind for this is Samantha in A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. Do have to age myself down because she's 32. But assuming I was within a reasonable range of her being 32. She is a archaeoentomologist, so she's a scientist, and she has an interesting sense of humor. I like the way she thinks and the way she does things. Just an interesting character, so she'd be my choice. The fourth prompt is Text me. Would you date a non-reader? The answer to that is yes, but you do have to have some love of yours that the person you date has in common. So if it wasn't books, it could be shared love of music, go to concerts together, listen to the same music. Could be sports, professional wrestling, and women's basketball, which are the sports I really care about. Could be movies. I've fallen away from going to movies, but going to 1 or 2 movies a week would be a good basis for a relationship. I would say, though, that I think that this is who would you date. If it was who would you marry, who would you live together with, then that adds a different wrinkle to it. It still could be the things I mentioned, but the person has to, ideally they'd be introverted like me, so they would understand how I would need to spend a lot of time by myself reading. But if they were an extrovert, they'd still have to have enough understanding of introverts to know that I need my own time to read. If you're just dating somebody, there's all kinds of other time for me to read, but in a relationship when you're living with somebody, it's a different story, so they would have to allow me the space and time to read. Ideally, of course, the person you date does love reading, but it's just, you have to have something in common that you both love. The fifth prompt is Dream On. What's your favorite romantic setting in romance books, and what would be your ideal date? I think it would be a beach setting in the summer. A couple of books that come to mind are Happy Place by Emily Henry, which was set in a Maine town, and a Maine coastal town, and Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle, which was set on the ocean in Italy. I think those are just what I consider the best settings. The sixth prompt is Kiss Me, your favorite romantic scene from a book. At the end of Vampires of El Norte, there is a dance, and Nina and Nestor are a couple, and they can be a couple, and they're allowed to. It's a bit of a spoiler, I guess, me saying this, but they can be free to be with one another and acknowledge that they're a couple. I can't remember if they were married or not at that time or by the end of the book, but they're certainly a couple. The seventh prompt is Let's Party. Which 3 book characters would you invite to a party and why? Normally, when I've answered similar prompts, I always have the more famous, extravagant, whatever you want to say, characters such as Hercule Poirot and the vampire Lestat and people like that. For this particular one, I chose characters that are perhaps a little more grounded in reality. So I chose Millicent and Mrs. Nash's Ashes by Sarah Adler. I have to like her. She's a very upbeat person, and she's traveling across the country to deliver the ashes of a friend of hers who passed away to a former lover. Second choice is Daphne in Funny Story. She's a librarian, and you have to like librarians. And the third character is Molly Gray in The Maid by Nita Prose. I should say Funny Story is by Emily Henry. And the third character is Molly Gray in The Maid by Nita Prose. It should just be interesting. She is neurodivergent working as a maid, but she did a great job solving a mystery. I think it'd be interesting to talk to these people. And they're just kind of normal people. They're not like Lestat, who's a vampire. The eighth prompt is You Rock, a romance book you would recommend to everyone. If you don't read romance, you can recommend other books you love. The book I'm going to recommend is The Story Life of A.J. Thickery by Gabrielle Zevin. I'm recommending this book because I think this book might be good for those who don't necessarily normally read romance. It's a grumpy sunshine romance. The man is the grumpy one. He's the owner of a bookstore on an island off the New York coast. And his bookstore is struggling. He's very opinionated on what books people should read. And the woman is a bookseller the previous bookseller who sold books to him at his bookstore, I can't remember why he left, but she's the new one, and she's upbeat and positive about things. And there's also in the book, in addition to their developing relationship, there's some sad things that happen. So I think this would be a good book for maybe those who might say, well, I consider romance, I'm not going to read it, it's frivolous or whatever. I personally don't think that, but I know there's people that do. So this is one I recommend. The ninth prompt is Be Mine. What is a book that you really want to read own? What is a book that you really want to read/own? And I'm not great at looking ahead at books, and as I'm trying not to buy new books, I don't go on Barnes & Noble that much, which is one place that I look to see what new books are coming. I watch a lot of BookTube videos, and I see them talking about new books coming, but not too much sticks in my mind. But one of the books that I really would like to read is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. So that's one. The 10th prompt is Tag some booktubers you love. As always with these questions, I'm not going to say anybody I interact with because I fear I'll miss somebody, and there's more and more of them, which is great, but I fear I miss them. So what I did is I just picked 5 for the big booktubers I follow that I try to watch their videos. Not as much anymore because I'm really trying to concentrate on the people I interact with, support them. But this is just 5 that I really like, and I do try to watch some of their videos when I can. They are Hannah at A Clockwork Reader, Cindy at With Cindy, Carrie at Carrie Can Read, Meg at Meg with Books, and Leonie at A Book Leo. And the second tag I'm going to do is the Valentine's Day book tag. I was tagged in a video by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. I'm just going to repeat what Pat said about this tag. Kelly did the Love Hearts book tag. That's Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. But she also included links to 2 other Valentine's Day tags she has done in past years. She invited us to do the prompts for any of the 3 tags, so I choose to do the Valentine's Day tag, which Kelly did last year. And all the prompts for all 3 will be in the description of my video. There are 7 prompts to this tag. The first is favorite couple ever. You want to have their relationship. So, thought a little bit about this one. I picked the longest serving couple that I'm aware of, and that is Nancy Drew and Ned in the Nancy Drew series. There's been multiple series over the years. The series has been around for decades. They're still always in high school, college, or Ned's in college anyway in more recent books, but they're just a longer serving couple. They support each other, and you gotta like a relationship that lasts for decades. The second prompt is relationship that never happened. You want them to get together, but they never did. I'm going to, in this one, go back to A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher that I mentioned in one of the prompts for the first tag I'm doing here. And there was good chemistry between Samantha, and there was a groundskeeper kind of helped around the house too. I can't remember his name, but there was really good chemistry. There seemed to be a spark, but it never developed into a relationship. And I wanted them to have a romantic relationship. The third prompt is worst relationship. A couple you wanted to break up because the character was awful, deceitful, abusive, etc. That's Connell and Marianne from Normal People. I really didn't like either of them that much, but I liked Connell less. He wasn't really abusive, but it just was a toxic relationship. It baffles me that so many people think that was some kind of great romantic relationship. The fourth prompt is your favorite romantic triangle, and that is Bella, Edward, and Jacob from the Twilight series. That's the one I most think of. And I haven't read too many books with triangles actually, but this is my favorite. The fifth prompt is your favorite tragic love story, like Romeo and Juliet, no spoilers. Couple whose relationship was cut tragically short. For this one, I'm going way back, decades back, and that's how long this stuck with me. It's Paul Atreides and Chani from the Dune series by Frank Herbert. I read the first 4 books, and Paul had a quote that I remember to this day, a quote Paul had about his relationship after it ended, and it was, most of it was sweet, but you were the sweetest of all. To this day, I remember that. The sixth prompt is what book will you choose to be your Valentine? A little confused by what this really means. I guess it means a book you really love. And there's a fair amount of them, but the book I chose is Imogen, obviously, by Becky Albertelli. This is a good YA romance, kind of, I suppose, a bit of a coming of age in the main character, learning what she really is, and I really liked it. The seventh prompt is tag others. First, I want to say that I'm recording this on February 12th. Valentine's Day is February 14th. I'm not expecting anyone to do. I'm not expecting anybody I tag to do this, rush around and do this before Valentine's Day. I don't personally hold to such things, so I think people should feel perfectly free to do tags like this, say after Valentine's Day or for Christmas tag after Christmas, whatever. So if you like to do it, please do it. Don't be held to any kind of deadline. Or if you want to answer any or all the prompts in my comments, that'd be great too. I am going to tag a bunch of people in the description of this video, though. Anybody who's watching this, consider yourself tagged. But I am going to tag a bunch of people in the description of this video. Again, as I said, not expecting anybody to do this, to rush around and do this in the next couple of days. But if at some point you want to do it, that'd be great. Or, as I said, reply to one or more of the prompts in my comments. And there is the third set of prompts you could do too, besides the two that I did. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week, and I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.